Welcome back to Hello Nigeria. It's time for us to look at what's trending in the news. Of course, Ezugu Chikudi is here with us. Good to have you, Chikudi.
Good to be here, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem.
Happy Thursday.
Same to you too. It's good to have you over here.
So
and I like that you started by saying Ramadan Kareem. You know, we understand that we all have different religions, but as much as possible, we should advocate for inclusion. Everybody needs to feel among, and everybody has a right to practice whatever religion they want to practice.
Unity and diversity.
Yes. I think that our religious leaders have a very important role to play. I mean, there's no other gathering where you would see the large turnout of people, for example, like in the mosques on Fridays or in the churches on Sundays, and you have one person preside over, or you have an individual preside over, you know, whatever deliberation or celebration. So I think that they have a very important role to play in nation building and national development. And when we begin to express all of the teachings in these various religion practices, only then we will be ready to contribute our quota to the development and the building of our country.
Thank you very much for that very important statement. Now let's move on to something else that's very important. Now we see in foreign movies, you see that, and even in real life scenarios, when someone is being shot and they rush to the hospital, the first thing the hospital does is treat them before asking who shot them, how did you get the gunshot? But that's not the case in Nigeria. If you have a gunshot injury, you have to produce police report, and some people have died in the process. Now we've seen that the Lagos State Police Command has warned hospitals and doctors to henceforth desist from rejecting gunshot victims, saying such act constitutes a flagrant violation of an existing law. In a statement on Wednesday by the command's public relations officer, Chike Oti, they said doctors who do so are criminally liable on account of the provision of the Compulsory Treatment and Care of Victims of Gunshot Act 2017. Now, this is a law, but the law as it is a far cry from the law as it ought to be. How effective is this? Are they really going to obey this? Because we've seen that many people have died in the process. And the first question you ask is, what happened to the Hippocratic Oath that you swore?
Well, the truth is, the reality is different from, you know, whatever explanation or whatever opinion we hold of this matter. But what is most important is there is an existing law. And if we all say that we are all subject to the law, then we must all conform with what is enshrined in our law book. Now, you have a situation where in the past, people or health institutions have gotten into serious trouble. In fact, the person that brought the person who suffered the gunshot wound has gotten into very serious problems. The institution themselves have gotten into very serious problems. But we are excited now, or we are happy because we have a law in place. And if we say we are a society in which everyone is subject to the law, then we must conform with what is, dictated by the law. Now, there's a difference between putting laws in place and also implementing these laws. That's the beauty of democracy. You have the executive arm of government that is supposed to carry out or implement the laws that have been made by the legislature. Now, the legislative arm of government have taken a step in promulgating this law. What the executive should do is implement the law. Now, coming from the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Edgar Imoyimi, then it is the step in the right direction. But we must begin to see that we are ready to enforce these laws. Because a lot of people, I must tell you, a lot of people have lost their lives. Like you explained in your introductory remark. We must preserve lives first before we proceed with, okay, let us carry out an investigation to find out if this person is the culprit or if this person is the victim of whatever action that resulted in that gunshot injury in the first place.
So there's something also that the Act states. It requires that the hospital treating the patient to report the fact to the nearest police station within 2 hours of commencement of treatment. So if you're a hospital or you're a doctor or a nurse within the medical profession, it will henceforth become an offense punishable by law if you refuse to treat a patient because they have a gunshot wound. You need to understand that now there's a law to back that up. All you need to do is the moment you start treating, within 2 hours, report to the nearest police station.
Very true. And beyond just enforcing this law, we must come back to the problem. The problem is when we look at primary or basic healthcare in Nigeria, it is a challenge. People have died because of headache. You might look at it and say, it's just headache. The person might have taken some, medication and felt a lot better, or drank a lot of water and felt a lot better. But the truth is, our healthcare system is in shambles.
And also false diagnosis as well.
Exactly. If we live in a country where, for example, the president, hops on a private jet or on the Air Force One, sorry, no, we don't have the Air Force One, NAF 1, NAF 001, and goes to get the very best of Medicare outside the shores of Nigeria. If we live in a country where the executive governor of a state fell down from his BMW and he was taken from the state's capital to the federal capital territory for treatment, it tells us that there's something fundamentally wrong with our healthcare system. We must, as we enforce this law, try as much as we can to review all of the issues and challenges in the healthcare system so that at the end of the day, Nigerians can have confidence in our healthcare.
Thank you very much for mentioning that, because honestly, beyond the issue of gunshots, one of the major issues that hospitals will complain about is treating this person on whose account is it. We don't have a proper health insurance scheme working. So you're bringing this person to the hospital, you're wanting the person to get treated, but who gets to pay? Now, if we had a proper health insurance scheme that covers every Nigerian, a basic health insurance scheme that is in effect and that is working, and we had a common system of being able to track, you know, I'm not sure, here in Nigeria, we don't have like a unified record system. So those who even have insurance schemes are the ones that get insurance scheme for their workplace. And your insurance scheme is probably only applicable to one hospital or thereabout.
Very true.
But we need a unified system that you get
And aside from the hospital, you know, there are certain ailments that you must pray against and tell God to help you come against them. Because if you get them, you are in trouble. Certain of these plans only cover maybe toothache.
Very true.
Or kata.
And even have certain medicines that the insurance scheme would not give to you. I remember once I was sick and doctor said, okay, do you want me to give you a health insurance scheme medication or do I actually give you something that will work
because
better?
your sickness,
I said, please prescribe water.
Because your sickness is bigger than the plan, and it is a shame. To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love her.